Alright, a very good morning. You're watching Westnile television here on Weatherhead Park Lane here in Arua City. That's where we are located. This is the KOKOLIRIKO show with me, Frederick Dramadri. I have with me here Faris Majid, who is one of the journalists here at Westnile television. We'll be diving into so many other issues when need be, and also if time allows, we'll be tackling both local, regional, national and international issues. We are already 33 minutes past 7 a.m. and we are really here ready for you to deliver all the information you need, and also in case you want to interact with us on certain issues that you feel we really stressed on them and they were really touching the whole region, or maybe they are informing development somewhere, you should be able to come to the message box of maybe the YouTube channel, that is KOKOLIRIKO Live, where you'll be able to slot in what you think about the issues that we are talking about. Maybe first things first, let's welcome you in the studios of Westnile Television.
Yes, thank you, Frederick. A very good morning to you, our dear viewer. As introduced by Frederick Dramadri, I'm called Faris Majid. Frederick, today is a Friday, and I know we're heading into the weekend, but this was a busy week. As you said, a number of things happened. I think we shall be also giving out our viewers on some of the issues that transpired in the due course of the week. That will be only on the show here. And in a special way, I want to welcome whoever is watching Westnile Television KOKOLIRIKO Live show to the show.
Yes, right. Now we're heading to the weekend. There are a lot of things that most of us do during the weekend, slaying, doing what, all those things happen in places. But let's take caution. The issues of insecurity in most of the urban centers continue to dwindle, and also they are actually escalating. Most of the issues, the cases are increasing. Let's really focus so much on vigilance. Apart from really waiting for even the LC1, let's be vigilant as community members and really take some of the precautions against certain things that come like a storm. So maybe first, Faris, there are a lot of issues in the health facilities. Look at the cases of malaria that are increasing each and every day that really our health facilities are reporting across the region. We have seen that on average, the cases of malaria that have been diagnosed at the OPD, the outpatient departments of most of the health center 3s, 2s, and 4s that we have in this region stand now at 7 to 8% out of 10 people tested, meaning 8 of them must be having this malaria case, maybe might be having the case presented or maybe tested positive. So maybe Faris, what do you make of on this? Recently, government really did a lot in bringing for us the IRS, that is the into-residual spray, to curtail some of the cases of malaria. That is after Westnile region was found to be one of the leading in the country after Karamoja sub-region. Maybe, Faris, what do you make of this?
Yes, Frederick, the issue about malaria, I think the government has done enough in terms of fighting malaria, but now what is left is for the public maybe to also take on what is supposed to be done in the right way. First of all, if you are to look at the issues of malaria, the nets, the government has done enough in distributing these nets. The nets have always been distributed. And if you got the health facilities, sometimes these medicines are there. If you talk about the medicines, there's quaterns, they're always there with the health facilities. And at times, they also lower these drugs to the VHTs in the village level. So the issue of malaria, I think it is something that is yet for us to first up, maybe understand and find an alternative way of fighting the disease. Because the government has done its part, and I believe what is left is for the people to understand what malaria is all about, and for them to also get ways of fighting the disease. Recently, I was in Vura, in one of the health facilities, that is Kawanjet Health Center 3, a new health facility. I discovered that most of the cases registered there were of malaria, and most of the admissions and most of the deaths were as a result of malaria. So what does it tell? It means that malaria is still very much paramount in the societies. It is still doing a lot in terms of affecting people, and a lot of money is being wasted in terms of treating this disease. So I think the issue of malaria is one that the public need to understand. First of all, it goes back to the lifestyle of the people. Do the people really understand what they're supposed to be doing in terms of fighting malaria? and what should they be doing? And one issue that was raised here was the issue concerning lifestyle. It was discovered that people at times get malaria in a way that it is as a result of a reckless life. People live past the times they're supposed to be out, and these mosquitoes that spread the malaria, the female Anopheles mosquito that spreads this disease, at times gets these people from the places where they are hanging out, where they are moving out at night. So after a mosquito that is presumed to be carrying the disease bites them. So at the end of the day, you get the people contracting the disease, and the number of people affected by malaria also goes up. So I think it also goes back to the people. It is upon them to be fighting the disease now. Since the government has done enough, this is my own view, the government has done enough in terms of giving out the nets. We have seen the nets being distributed to families countrywide, and it goes back to them also. And we have seen the medicines being at the facilities, the quarters, the people getting the medicine. And then we have also seen the VHTs doing enough. So I think it goes back to the people, the masses, to understand what they're supposed to be doing in terms of fighting the disease. But still, malaria remains a key challenge. It affects, at least on average, the number of people registered at the health facilities affected by malaria always keeps on going up. So it is now upon the people to understand and do what exactly they may be to avoid the disease.
Yes, if you look at the status of the drugs that have been dispersed to health facilities, currently, most of these health facilities have that anti-malarial drugs. Most of them have this, and that means that government has taken really all the measures to ensure that malaria is eradicated. But now it comes to us, those who are the community members. Can we really look at the hygiene that we have, the sanitation, these issues of maybe staying, the lifestyle we have as the community members? Are we really there focusing on really caring about ourselves, apart from really always waiting from government? Much as these preventive measures were put in place, people still have those attitudes of staying over the night, maybe outside. Much as the nets are there, you might not carry the nets. So what about caring about yourself as an individual, apart from really waiting for all those things from government? We have these issues to do with the gullies, the maram that is being excavated by contractors. They don't fill back those holes they have dug. Those are things really, if we as local governments, as we as community members really focus on, even slashing around your compound, that is one thing you should be doing as a person to ensure that those breeding places are really not there in your compounds. And also, if you look at those who move to bars, people stay the whole night. There are others who even sleep that side, seated and so on. Don't you think the mosquitoes can really bite you at that time? Those are the things we really need to look at if we want to prevent some of these cases. Maybe Faris, we have this vice of lifestyle, which has been really key. How can we do away with this, apart from really sensitizing the community all the time about the preventive measures, which we have ever talked about, especially really doing away with the breeding places and also sleeping under mosquito nets, but also having the residual sprains that have been done. What else can we do?
Talking about the issue of lifestyle, Frederick, there's still a lot that needs to be done. You know the mindset about some people, the locals, sometimes they do not want to sleep under the nets. They believe these nets come with chemicals. That it still goes back to mindset change. And we have seen how people have been misusing the nets for farming, for other activities, for making sponges. You see how much money has been wasted there. So it really goes back to people to understand in terms of lifestyle. Maybe the mindset change would be of great importance if the people understood how malaria will be fought and what importance these nets that the government is giving out to them may be of. So it really goes back to the people still in terms of lifestyle to understand what these nets are for and what these nets are meant to do to them and how much money government maybe is wasting in terms of purchasing these nets here, because these nets, I believe, do not come for free. It is from the taxpayers' money. So it really goes back to them to make an understanding of what importance these nets mean to them. Secondly, I think the government also needs to come out to sensitize the masses more about the issues of malaria. I think there's still less that is being done in terms of sensitization. Why do I say this? Because if the government at all has been sensitizing the masses about the means to fight malaria, why is it that the people still continue to abuse what they have been told? Why is it that people still continue to use the nets for farming? Why is it that people still continue to use the nets for making sponges in order to earn money? So it really goes back to the people to have mindset change. And then to the people who move out at night, how do you take care of yourself? Why would there? Because your entire life lies in your hands. It is you to take care of your life. How do you move out at night? If you're out there, how do you protect yourself from the mosquitoes? Because at the end of the day, it will be you to spend a lot of money in terms of treating the malaria. If you are to die, it will be you to die. So I think that still goes back to mindset change and lifestyle of the people.
All right. My challenge still within this area is really we have stayed with the malaria for quite a while, and also government has really done a lot in sensitization. We have the Public Health Act that really stipulates clearly that in case of this kind of diseases that are of public concern, when maybe government is trying to bring in efforts to reduce them, and there's people who are violating those efforts that are frustrating those efforts that have been put by government, they really needed to be arrested and really prosecuted. Maybe can we really bring this law to force if we really want to achieve much? Because really, I don't understand why people should continue to misuse these mosquito nets that have been given to them as one of the preventive measures too. But also, if local governments can take it up and also look at the issues of malaria, like the way we look at the issues of mosquito, the pit latrines in these homesteads. We have been looking at seeing sometimes local governments moving into communities to arrest people who do not have rabies pits, who do not have maybe latrines and so on, to improve hygiene. What about malaria, where you see people use mosquito nets for maybe for making rope, for tying their goats, maybe also to guard their crops in the farmlands. These are the things I think if we lower some of these laws into bylaws at sub-county level, and also villages take them upon themselves through the VSTs, and enforcement is done at that level, will really move further to avert some of these cases. Maybe first, do you have anything to say about this law that has been there in force but not been implemented?
Just to add on what you have said, I don't know why this is the country whereby we always make laws but are never implemented. So I think if these laws were to be implemented, maybe at the end of the day we would see a reduction in the number of people misusing the government facilities or the government nets. So I think government projects, I should put it that way actually, that is one way maybe we would see a reduction and mindset change among the people, because one would fear, first of all, the law catching up with them, and then it would also scare many people. So I believe if the laws were supposed to be active and working properly, maybe at the end of the day we would see a reduction in terms of misuse of these nets here.
Maybe still, how best could we enforce laws? Because this country has continued to sing that song that we have the good laws, we have what and so on, but there have been challenges in enforcement. How best should we tackle the issues of enforcement of laws that we have in this country to really make sure that we achieve what we intended through these laws?
First of all, there is nobody above the law. That is one thing we need to ensure. We need to make an understanding of nobody being above the law. And secondly, we need to take law as it is. You know, this is a country whereby sometimes the laws are also just being left down, not necessarily because of them not being there, but they are there, but sometimes acting them becomes difficult for the people who are supposed to be enforcing them. So if we are to take law as it is, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you come from, regardless of what you do, I think at the end of the day, we will see the laws doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because at the end, because first of all, these laws were enacted and were put in place, not in bad faith, I believe, but they were supposed to be there for maybe to guard and govern. So I think if the laws are to be implemented, it will be of good importance to the country at large.
Okay, enacting a law comes in different phases. First of all, there are consultations done and also assessments on the impact of its outcomes and so on. Also looking at the issues to do with considering people from all areas of maybe how this is going to affect the public. Those are considered before enacting any law. But now, if we still have this challenge of of really not enforcing the laws. That is quite unfortunate, that we will say that we really needed to go and enforce. But also, if some of these laws are really not to be bented, we need to have these local governments also put bylaws considering the situations in their various maybe places of residence, and also considering what is happening current, because some of these laws we are quite sure that they were enacted before bringing in some of these aspects, like maybe in case some of these preventive measures are brought in case somebody breaches them, some of the clauses might be lacking. So it is to be filled by the bylaws in these sub-counties or maybe divisions and cities that we have right now. So maybe to conclude with the malaria issues, maybe Faris, what do you have to wind up this discussion on malaria?
First of all, it goes back to individual responsibility. It is your responsibility to, first of all, protect yourselves and your loved ones from malaria. Why do I say your loved ones inclusive? The children. This goes back to the parents. It is you to start training your children in terms of fighting malaria. You need to tell them what exactly to do, and you need to ensure that you sleep under a treated mosquito net, so that by the end of the day you do not avoid unnecessary expenditure that goes into treatment. And maybe at the end of the day it will help you protect yourselves and your loved ones from malaria, because the issue of malaria now, I believe, Frederick, we have always talked about it.
True.
You know how the government has always done its part. So what is remaining is for the people to understand, for the masses to understand what exactly they're supposed to be doing, maybe in terms of fighting the disease. That is what I can make of it. And I believe if individual responsibility is taken concern of, at the end of the day, maybe we'll see a reduction or elimination perhaps of malaria in the country.
Okay, as Westnile Television, we have done our part to sensitize the community, but also we need to take the message serious in case such initiatives come, and also these opportunities are there. Let's take them seriously and utilize the messages that have been unpacked in relation to prevention of diseases, instead of really always time going for curative side. That really costs a lot, because transportation and so on, taking somebody for treatment, much as we have free drugs in government health facilities, let's impress those health facilities, and also messages packed that have been delivered by VSTs. But also government has taken a bit some time to distribute mosquito nets to the public. This is after the 2020 distribution that I can remember. But now we are seeing that come September to November, there's another phase that is coming. Let's take interest and also receive these mosquito nets and put them into right use. But also I want to implore those in authority, especially the politicians, in case we are delivering messages to our people, much as we are going to also keep on saying that, okay, vote for me in 2026, let's look at some of these issues that affect the community and keep educating them wherever we have the message. And also let's utilize the opportunity that is given to us. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be delivering to you some of the messages about this, the ruckus that is coming up from Arua main taxi park that has had issues with the tenants. Some people calling themselves landlords instead of tenants, and also the breach of that MOU that was signed between the municipal council, now the city, and the tenants. Those who breached them are really bringing a lot of concerns there. We will be talking about those issues. Yes.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region. Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Star TV with StarTimes Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Back from that commercial break, we were talking about the issues to do with malaria that is on the rise in Westnile region. Most of the health facilities are reporting cases that are increasing. That means there's a lot of gap that is in between the community members and also those who are supposed to deliver them messages, because people really needed to be oriented all the time in terms of capacity building, in terms of how to handle issues, because human beings are human beings. Sometimes they move away from the message that was really given to them, because sometimes you realize that people go and deliver a message and at some point it is reported to be a different message. So let's move away from that. Let's come to Arua City, where the taxi park has had issues with the breach of MOU that was really signed between Arua Municipal Council and now the Arua City and the tenants, where the tenants have gone ahead to sublease the lockups that were given to them in breach of the MOU that was signed. Let's look at that story. When we come back, we'll be able to digest on them after listening to what some of the vendors have said, and also the administrators of the city have reacted in relation to the issue. Tenants in Arua Taxi Park are up in arms with the Arua City Authority over the breach of agreed terms enclosed in the Memorandum of Understanding after the original occupants decided to sublet spaces. Arua City Modern Taxi Park, constructed to accommodate 72 vehicles and 142 vendors to the tune of 28 billion Ugandan shillings, was to control street vending, among others. According to the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the Municipal Council by intent and the tenants effective 1st of June 2021, updated to 2023, none of the tenants are expected to sublet the premises that are already allocated to them, among other clauses, but the tenants, to the contrary, decided to sublet their premises.
The ones who are giving them those rooms were overcharging them. So that's how the whole confusion came. And according to my understanding, there is another problem between the city and the division. They have their problems of how this money is supposed to be paid. So the whole thing now, they knew all people want their money and it's such that they can go and pay to the city. So these new people have refused. They said they did direct. So they are paying their money direct to the bank. That's how the confusion came. And other old people said now they wanted their rooms back. This one said that is a government room, so they cannot leave that room. So in the lower rooms, these old ones we are giving them 700, and then they pay to the city 350. The difference, they are getting different. Others, upper ones 150, they were giving, others we are giving to the city 250. They are just getting difference of 150 like that.
For those who don't comply paying city council, they might stand a risk of losing the lockups. But like there's nothing like overpayment. If you're a business person and if it's an overpayment for you, you complain.
In the due course of handling the matter by Arua City Council Conflict Resolution Committee, chaired by the senior legal officers Samuel Ontoma, the tenants failed to reconcile with the committee, whereas the tenants who were sublet premises have accused the original tenants who had MOUs with the Arua Municipal Council in 2021 of extortion, double payments, and acting as commission agents. Idi Yassin is the chairperson of Arua Taxi Park New Traders Union, the body that is representing the sublettees of these premises.
Advantage, we have paid money more than what they have been paying. So where does the faith of government lie? In our hands or in the hands of those blockers? Because they are currently they are middle people. They cannot be called the landlord. You can't have two landlords in the same room. That MOU is not supposed to be signed. The first MOU was signed, even I signed personally myself also. It was signed by the Solicitor General. If you take this MOU, it is not signed by Solicitor General. What does the Act of the Market, which was approved by the President recently, say? And then, what does that MOU read? In the MOU, when you are giving room to another person, you are supposed to have a written agreement with the current person you are giving the room through the support of the council. But is there any written document? We don't have.
On the other hand, the town clerk of Arua Central Division, Drakuma Malik, noted that majority of the tenants have breached the Memorandum of Understanding, whereas the Central Division Council is focusing on reviewing all the MOUs in order to reach a logical conclusion.
Yes, there were challenges, there were weaknesses on our side. There are also weaknesses on the sides of tenants, if we say. Because when we looked at the MOU, it discouraged subletting.
Meanwhile, Paul Batanta, Arua City Town Clerk, is optimistic that the matter shall come to pass once their meetings are successful.
The tenants paying to the landlords, then the tenants paying to the cities. Double payment. We shall have a meeting, we shall resolve that. I can't give an answer right now, but it will be resolved. First of all, who gave them permission to pay twice? How do you pay twice? You see, that's the issue. Because now we shall find out which authority gave them to pay twice. Why do you pay twice? If you're supposed to pay rent for the month of July, it's 300. Or whatever, it is 700. You pay 700. Then again, you go and pay the same month. You pay 700. There is a problem.
Arua Taxi Park has continued to experience poor lighting systems, insecurity among others, largely attributed to failure by tenants to pay promptly and irregularities in revenue collections between the City Council and the Arua Central Division Council. Frederick Tamadri, Westnile TV, Nilecast. All right, you have seen what has happened there in that meeting where the city council already had set a committee to ionize some of these issues in relation to double payment, issues of high charges that are levied on people who are supposed to really be there as tenants. And also there are issues to do with the subletting clause that is enclosed in that MOU, where the city council really thought it wise to say that really in this MOU we don't want that issue of subletting, but these tenants who signed the MOUs decided to sublet the premises, which is totally in violation of this. But also the issues to do with double payment, where you pay to the tenant who had signed MOUs with the city council, and also you go and pay to the central division. That is another thing which has been identified in that. But also there are issues to do with who is a real tenant in this place. That is some of the issue that has been coming in these discussions that we have been able to see. Maybe Faris, what do you make of some of those conversations that we have seen from
First of all,
the discussions we saw there?
Frederick, we need to make an understanding of who the landlords are, who the tenants are, who the landlords are. First of all, we need to understand who they are. Some of these people initially had land. These were the initial owners of this taxi land in this taxi park here. So when the construction project came, they had to pave way for the construction.
Maybe let me correct that.
Yes.
It is not that these people had land there, but the issue is when the municipal was trying to bring this taxi park to a modern one, like in 2018, the issue there was these were the initial people who were trading in that taxi park.
Yes.
That is why they remained as the original tenants and they signed those MOUs. Yes.
So these people had to pave way for the construction, and they were moved to, I think, Lobida for some time, for quite some time. It was 2 years to pave way, and the agreement was, if the works are done, these people would come back and take on the facilities for at least was it 2 years or some years? I don't know. I've forgotten.
They signed in 2020.
Yes. So if the work was done, right now this agreement has expired. The agreement is now they're operating there illegally because the time they were supposed to be at this new taxi park is now ending. That is one issue that we need to understand. And then these people, I think we needed to know who they are and why they are sub-renting out to people, and how has this contributed to service delivery. First of all, Frederick, if you go there, this is a facility that has no electricity currently. This point, darkness. The solar lights are actually not operating also. And if you look at the generator, it is down. The power house is down, and at night there is no power. It's dark. During day, these people survive on the natural light, but during night hours, it is really dark. There's darkness that surrounds the taxi park. So what is this resulting from? First of all, from the landlords who think of money by sub-renting out. Frederick, if you look at the initial plan and the initial agreement of how much this was supposed to be paying, you will tell. These people are not supposed to be paying the amount of money they are paying right now. Right. First of all, the rooms that these people are charging 700, we are supposed to be at least, I think, 500?
No, 350.
Yes. And then
350
these are for the downer rooms.
Yes.
And for the upper floors, it was supposed to be 250, but it is not what these people are paying for because of the sub-renting. Because if I'm to give out some facility from you, at the end of the day, you are paying money to me and you expect profit. How are you going to expect the profit? It goes back to the tenants now who will feel the pinch of what you're doing. You overcharge them. And this place, I think, also has no market like how I think it should be. Why do I say this? We have seen businesses closing due to the result of the high charges of rent, because somebody will not want to come to town and work for rent. At the end of the day, only work for the landlord. So we have seen businesses closing. So it really goes back to the people who are responsible for checking these things here for the entire facility of the taxi park. I don't know why there's mess in that facility, but I think the relevant stakeholders need to come up and sort the issue before it is still time. Because if we do not do that, the landlords are still there. Some of them operate in hiding. We do not know them. Who are sub-renting to the people. We do not know them. We have seen people paying twice. You pay to the landlord, and then after some time, the municipal council also comes back to you. We have had the tenants complaining about this. At the end of the day, we are going to be seeing their business affected, and then we are going to see the number of businesses closing at the facility also increasing. And how does that impact on the economy? It is really going to increase on the number of people who are suffering from unemployment. At the end of the day, we see a reduction in terms of reaching the money economy, like the president has always said. So I think it really affects us all, and the issues surrounding the taxi park is one that needs to be dealt with I think needs government intervention. If this issue is supposed to be addressed once and for all, maybe at the end of the day it will be of good importance to the whole of Arua, because this facility is a business hub, really caters for a lot of people. We have seen people coming from the villages, and some of them do not actually know the town, and what they do is once they need something, they come and directly and stop at this taxi parks here. And then if we do not address the issue, still it goes back to the people who come and purchase the services from the taxi park. Because why? This is it. The tenants are going to be overcharging, and how do they overcharge? They will be overhiking the prices of their commodities. So that also really goes back to the local person who is down there, who comes from the village and does not know the whole of Arua city and only knows about the taxi park. So it really goes back to them, and I think the relevant authorities need to come up and address the issue of people being subrenting the facilities. And why is it that we are breaching the MOU that was signed? Does it mean that the MOU was not properly catered for? Did the people who signed the MOU not look properly into it? So that is another issue that also goes back to them.
Yes. Okay.
To have an address to that issue. Okay.
Let's put that to that. And if you look at that MOU, it really clearly has those guidelines, those clauses where the issues to do with subletting is discouraged. In case you want to sublet, you are supposed to really communicate to the city council by writing, but also you are supposed to look at the issues to do with who is coming, and in case the city council doesn't approve your request to sublet, then it remains. You are not supposed to do it. Even if you are defeated and you cannot really sell something there, and you cannot turn to be a landlord on a government facility. But also the city council has done it well to have this committee, which is chaired by the city lawyer Thomas Samuel, who is now there to really deliberate on some of these issues. Also, they are gathering currently views of these tenants and also the vendors who have been sublet these premises. But also some of the issues that they really are looking at is reviewing this tenants agreement, reviewing them, and also what has really perturbed me is there's a new MOU that has already been signed. I don't know where people have got that from, but also we are yet to see if that was an authentic one or not, because you clearly heard it from one of the leaders there that one was not really signed by the Solicitor General, but also the previous one they signed had that stamp. What has gone wrong, where, and so on. These are the things. But also remember very well that since 2018 to 2020, this taxi park was under construction with government injecting up to 28 billion Ugandan shillings to construct this facility, which now can accommodate 72 vehicles in a row. So that means this is something, some place that is not really for joke. It is a wider one. It's where government has really invested a lot of money. But we have seen, because some of these so-called landlords have not paid the municipal council or the city council right now, we have a lot of debts that have not been offset to the service providers. Looking at the one who is providing services of electricity at the taxi park. That's why this taxi park continues to be in darkness, but also the issues of people's lockups being broken into by thugs has been one of the issues also coming up, because the service providers have not really been well facilitated. As far as what you make of some of this mess that continues, in case this is not brought to a conclusion, what do you think can be the fate of this big facility that government has ventured so much into?
The mess that surrounds the taxi park has just not started now, but I think it is now time for us to provide solution and address the issue once and for all. Because Frederick, you remember how one of the accusations against one of our leaders is actually the mess that is surrounding the new taxi park. So I think this issue needs to be addressed right now. It is time that we address this issue that surrounds the new taxi park. Because if it's not addressed, people are still going to be suffering. We are going to be seeing people still extorted of their money. You know, the corrupt officials, the tenants, they will always be taking a lot of money. Because if somebody is supposed to be paying 300 and then you're paying 700, what does it really, so what the gap in that price is really too much. I think it is almost double, but now it goes back to the policymakers to have an assessment of what is happening at the taxi park, and maybe at the end of the day address a solution to it. Because once, if this is not addressed, Frederick, it is still going to be affecting not only the tenants, it affects everybody. Why do I say everybody? The local person down there, as I stated earlier on, who comes from the village and all knows the taxi park, will still be cheated. How will you be cheated? In terms of prices. Something that is purchased cheaply from Kampala and brought here now because of rent and other expenses, it will have to have an increase in the price. So I think it really goes back to the policymakers, and then people who are responsible for that to have an assessment of what is supposed to be done there, and then address the issue once and for all. Because this issue of the new taxi park, to me, it has just not begun. It has always been there ever since the taxi park was opened officially for use. These issues have been there. If you look at the mess that is currently right now there, the tenants are complaining of darkness, and some of these people need power. If you had to look at some of the kind of shops that are there, we have electronic shops and they cannot operate without power. We have boutiques that need power maybe to run because people need to see the products properly. So I think it really goes back to also these people to see if they can do anything concerning the issue of electricity. How is darkness contributing to the thugs? You talked about the issue of people's lockups being broken into. Darkness gives chance for the thieves to try their chances. It tells them, it opens way for them, because if it is dark, you're not going to see who is coming from the other side. It becomes easy for the thieves to connive and then at the end of the day rob the people of their property. Because this is one area that is within the city center. You said, Frederick, you know, it is within the city. And if it is dark, it really, what does it show of? What does it tell of? So it really goes back to the policymakers and people who are responsible to address this issue of the power. If you look at the generator, it is coming to almost a year. It is lying idle there. I got a chance of seeing the generator. I went to the powerhouse. You could really tell this is a good generator that if it was put into proper use by the people who are responsible, maybe we'll be able to see, even if not the people, if the people are not able to rely on Westnile, they would also be using that generator as a substitute for Westnile. At the end of the day, we'll see their businesses maybe going up, and this is limiting other businesses now. The issue of power is limiting other businesses that would have been created here. If you have to look, so what are some of the businesses that need power, that need constant power? They cannot run sufficiently at the new taxi park, yet there's adequate market for them. So I think that really goes back to the policymakers and the people who are responsible in charge of the taxi park, maybe to also offer solution to the issues surrounding the new taxi park. At the end of the day, it will be of great use maybe to the people, not only the traders, but I think the whole country at large.
Okay, let's give time to the committee that has been constituted by the City Council to look into some of the issues, also maybe amicably solve this, to give a way for government to start realizing benefits in this taxi park. But also, in case they are able to do this, we will really see that business is flourishing, and also looking at service provision in that area being improved. Maybe away from Arua City,
before we move away, I think we also need to first look at how much money this taxi park remitted last year. If you had to listen to the money that was taken back from these people, that was got out of the taxi park, really it is shocking. Because the actual money that was got from this taxi park is not what we expected. We expected more than 400 million, but the money we got from the new taxi park last year was about 20 million. Sure. It is shocking. So it really goes back to the people who are responsible. Where do the monies they collect from the tenants go to? There are a lot of the exorbitant charges they are taking from the tenants. Where is it going? And who are responsible for eating this money? Because it really shows that it's clear now that there are some people who are eating money from these facilities, who are benefiting out of these projects here. So I think the responsible need to investigate this before it is time, because at the end of the day, we need money. We need money to support our economy. We need money to run the budget. So money which will actually be gotten from here is being taken by some individuals and put it direct into their pockets, because it's really shocking, because a facility that is in the city center remitting small money like that, Frederick, it is really shocking. So I think those people who are responsible need to act and do what is expected of them, because it is clear now that there are some people who are taking money directly from this facility and putting it into their own pockets.
Okay. So if you look at government's move to curtail corruption, there are already a number of things that have been put in place. We have the Public Finance Management Act that is in place, but also we have the newly introduced technology, that is the integrated finance management, and also the issues to do with IRS. that is a technology that is used for maybe paying those kind of maybe charges in taxi parks, in markets and so on. Right now, people are using that technology to pay for the different revenues, the taxes that for government, to avoid these issues of using local revenues at source. Let's impress some of those technologies if we want to move further. But also, just like I'd said, the committee needed to look into some of those loopholes and really have a very good recommendation that the council should be able to deliberate and amend some of these clauses to suit the current interest of what is happening in the taxi park. Okay, let's move away from Arua City. Let's move to Lango sub-region, where schools for special interest groups are really having challenges in paying the staffs. Staffs are being paid at 50,000 shillings per month. This is something that is shocking the nation. Why is it that there's the focus at special interest groups education is still low in some of these areas? These are things that we really need to focus much into. But also, if you look at one school that has been spotted by Daily Monitor this morning, the school is called Nancy Comprehensive School of the Deaf. This is where it is actually a private school that is paying teachers at 50,000 shillings per month. But also, if you look at some of the issues there, you will realize that most of these monies are coming from the parents. So what does this mean? If you are someone who wants to put a school, what are the considerations you should have? Are you really going to afford that quality service that is to be provided to the people in need of the service? But also, what are the factors that are to be considered in ensuring that quality service is delivered in all aspects, looking at the social services, and also we have seen this not only in schools but also health facilities. People are establishing drug shops. What they look at is the money that is coming to them, but they don't look at the welfare of the staff and also the quality of service that is being provided. First, maybe what do you make of this issue, especially considering the special interest group that government has been advocating for, and also the need for inclusive education in this country?
Just to add on what you have said, I think this is my own watch of the whole situation now. Me, what I think is the government needed to come out and support this school here, because if somebody came out and opened up a school for the people with disability or needy, so I think that is a good move. What we need to do is now support the person who is behind the move. Frederick, how many PWD schools have you seen in the whole of Arua City here? That is something we need to look out for. Government schools that are for the people with special needs, how many have you seen here? And if you have to look at,
one, yes.
If you have to look, there are very few.
There are very few.
There are very few.
Yeah, there are two of them.
There are very
that
few.
I've seen, yes.
And if you have to move to some of these schools here, most of them do not actually cater for these people who are with special needs. If you have to look at the nature of our buildings, they do not favor these people here, and yet we are supposed to be with them together. Personally, I went to a primary school that was at least doing it enough to favor the people with special needs, the deaf, the disabled. There was a whole block for these people to study from, and it was catered for from the government, but it was only in one place. I could only see this in one place. This was at Arua Primary, but some of the schools do not actually have these facilities in place. So I think it goes back to the people who are responsible, maybe the government at the end of the day, to also make a consideration in terms of planning for the people with the needy. So I think it goes back to the people who are the policymakers, who are the Ministry of Education, to also have a look at it. Maybe at the end of the day, we'll be seeing this way. Because if you are paying a teacher at 50,000, what motivation are you giving this person here? Because really, what motivation are you going to give this person? And you know the impact of a person not being motivated at work. You really know what kind of service the person is going to be putting out. So at the end of the day, trust me, it will not be in good favor. And what I think these people are doing is, just because they have the love and they want to provide the services, that is why they are still there, the teachers who are still there. Because we talked about the volunteers, you know what they're earning, you know what they're getting. They're getting transport refund from the story we got. So I think it goes back to the people. I think what the people are just doing there is voluntary work. And it is because of the love they have maybe for the people with needy. And I call upon more people to embrace the same. And it goes back to the government also now to support these people here. It is government now to come up and support these people in their move of supporting people with needy. Because we all know the challenges, what these people are going through. if you have to look at the people with disability, you know, disabilities in various forms. You can be visually impaired, you can be lame, you can be, you know those sorts of people who need special care. True. And most of the facilities, Frederick, this is another issue that I've witnessed. Most of our building facilities do not cater for these people with disabilities. And if you have to look at these people, once they go to the higher, this is worse at the higher institutions of learning. Somebody who is supposed to be, who is lame may find a lot of difficulty studying with the colleagues. Because if the lectures are supposed to be up, you will really tell how this person can get up there. And yet most of the buildings do not actually favor these people here. And it really goes back to the poor also planning in these facilities here, in these schools, to have a look and have a little consideration. At least I was in Muni, the other time I saw their main hall, there is that consideration, how the people can roll up. It is easier for you to roll up because there are poles that can support you to move up. So I think that is what the other people also need to do. Let them embrace the same and have a planning and consideration for the people with disabilities, because at the end of the day, if the person with disability needs service, let the service be easier for them to access. And one way we're going to have that is by having, first of all, the services, bring the services closer to them. Okay. Open up schools for the people with special needs. Open these schools, have the schools well facilitated in terms of staff, in terms of everything that is needed. I think at the end of the day, we will see an increase in the number of people who are visually impaired, people who have other disabilities increasing in terms of accessing the education system, because the education system does not necessarily discriminate. It is for us all. It is not for the people. It is not that there's no discrimination that you should not attend education. It's not like you're going to say, Frederick, today I'm disabled, I'm not supposed to go to school. At the end of the day, we all need these services. We all need to be educated. So I think it goes back to the policymakers now to have a consideration in terms of facilitating this people here. That way, maybe it will be of great importance.
Okay, if you look at that issue to do with motivation, it doesn't only talk about the finances, but we also let's look at the quality of the teachers that we have. I'm wondering whether a professional teacher will be able to accept the 50,000. The quality of the teachers, that is one thing we really need to look at. Also, much as we might have all these kind of issues coming up, what about the people who are there to monitor service delivery in this sub-region of Acholi and Lango? That has really shocked the nation with that story. What does that mean, and also what is it that they have been doing in order to ensure that really children have been accommodated well in this kind of institutions, but also the welfare of the teachers is well packaged. But also, if you look at the issues to do with the Employment Act, it clearly shows that people who employ should be professionals. There should not be people who are quacks, who may not really deliver the rightful service that people need to achieve from such institutions that are established. But also you must be aware that a learning institution, they are assessed at national level, most of them. But also if you look at this kind of motivation, if you're giving me 50,000 real, how will I deliver? How will I also really achieve what I needed for my family, what I am always also looking at to improve my welfare, to do all those sorts of work that I needed to do at home. These are things we need to consider, but also the infrastructure issue is one key issue that we really need to look into. This has really shown that education for special needs is still wanting. It still needs improvement that we really need to do much about. If you come to Westnile, there's no secondary school that caters for the persons with disabilities. Now you wonder how, after finishing, maybe completing P7 and so on, where do these people go? Who is there to bridge that gap of bringing a secondary school for them? And also, how will we get more of their teachers to really do a lot in that? But also, the challenge that we have now is there are institutions like media houses that would want to employ some of these people. But where will you get them? Because they have not been educated so much. How will they pass a message to the public? These are the things that we really need to focus much into if we are to avert some of these challenges of seeing persons with disabilities not really having much in education, being in the employment sector in less numbers, but also in other aspects. These are the things we need to consider. Education quality for them, but also the issues of infrastructure. Really, we need to continue pushing that all the buildings should have that considerations for them, and also really have this motivation really done so well for them. But also the teachers, maybe finally, Faris, if we can wind up this discussion before we go for a break about the motivation for special needs education in private schools. Yes. Yeah,
concerning the issue of motivation, you talked about not only being in terms of finances. What do the teachers who are in these facilities need? The necessary scholastic material for the people to teach. We know what learning does not only stop in the money aspect of it all. You need other things. You need the chalks. You need maybe the facilities. You need the buildings. So I think that is where the motivation part of it goes to. And it really also goes back to the government to make it upon themselves, to take it serious, that they ensure that the people with disabilities get what is needed for them to maybe also get the knowledge that they want. Because at the end of the day, as I told you, the education system that does not discriminate. There's no way you're going to say this person is disabled, we cannot admit them here. There's no discrimination. It is all upon us, maybe to get the services we all expect them. And the more we open up facilities that cater for the people with disabilities, then the more numbers we shall see them enrolling in these facilities. And maybe at the end of the day, also see an improvement in terms of the rate of education system in the country. So I think that is all we need as government. We need to embrace catering for these people with disabilities. Let's have that little consideration. Let's have that human heart. Maybe at the end of the day, it will be of help to these people who are having the disabilities.
Okay, there should be special attention drawn to those who want to establish private special needs education centers. This should be really focused so much into if we want to improve the quality of service delivery in private institutions, especially the schools that are for special interest groupings. But also, I'm meant to understand that through inclusive education, government has achieved much in ensuring that persons with disabilities are accommodated with those said to be not having that kind of any disability to learn together. Through this government has achieved somehow much, but also we are still advocating that government needed to really put infrastructure for specifically to cater for these persons with disabilities, especially at least at regional level. If there are 1 or 2 secondary schools put at every region, that will be very, very important, because there are some things that need special attention, where maybe if a learner is somehow mentally disabled, that is a challenge that needed to be addressed by a special teacher who will give special attention to this kind of learner, because they may not cope up with those others that may not have any kind of disability. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be diving into the issues of the bill that has been there from 2022 to cater for the professional engineers in this country. How, if this is approved, how it will help us, maybe if without the law, what is currently happening. Yes, let's take a break.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Inside Technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTimes antenna and satellite signal. With StarTimes Inside Global Star TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTimes highest bouquet for free, automatic system update, more benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Inside Global Star TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Back from that commercial break, we were talking much about the issues of privatizing the education sector, what this means to the special interest group in Cholisa region. That was where we were looking at a case of teachers, the staff being paid at 50,000 per month, where we really talked much about how to improve special needs education. Apart from the private sector taking a lead, what can government do in order to regulate also the privatization of education, considering the issues of delivering quality services at all costs? This is where we were coming from. But now let's move away from Cholisa region. Let's move to a national story that is considering the issues to do with our professional engineers that are coming out from different institutions that we have in this country, both private and also the government-aided institutions that have continued to give us this kind of profession. People who are in this profession that are across the country who are delivering services in the infrastructural sector. So we have that 2022 Engineers Professional Bill that has really been there idle and not been approved up to now. What do you make of this? This was really meant to look at the issues of avoiding quacks, also people who are purportedly pretending to be engineers but not really registered with the Institute of Professional Engineers Association in Uganda, but also looking at the issues of the quality of works that will be delivered, also regulating the institutions that are bringing out the engineers in this profession, these people, to consider them to really have quality services delivered at all costs. Maybe Faris, what do you make of this? We have seen the Institute of Professional Engineers in this country releasing statistics showing that the country has produced over 5,000 engineers in this country, but only 2,000 have been registered. What do we make of this?
First of all, this bill is looking out at regulating those professional engineers who are from the schools but not registered alone. And yet we still continue to suffer in the hands of quacks who are still very much with us in the societies. You know the impact of the quacks. We have seen buildings collapsing in the hands of these quacks here. Because if they're not regulated, you know, if an entity is not regulated, you know what it means. Just you can tell. You know how many entities have not been regulated and the impact of that on the service. So I think it also goes back to the professional engineers. Look at it that how do they avoid the issues of these quacks? First of all, let them address the issues of the quacks before looking at the issues of registering of the unregistered engineers. Because this issue is just looking at, this is my own understanding of it, it is looking at regulating the engineers who might be professionals but not registered alone. Now, what does that mean on the kind of service that we're going to be delivered out? You know the rate of the quacks. You know how many people come out and from being apprentices to declaring themselves as engineers, and you know what that means. Somebody really goes through processes and then at the end of the day, terms to declare themselves engineers, and you know how that has been impacting on the socioeconomic lives of the people of this country. Because at the end of the day, these people take a lot of manufacturing. You can tell just how much money you'll be paying to a clerk instead of paying to...
Maybe Faris, let's not really move away from the issue of the bill. What do you think this bill here, if approved, will be able to address?
Yes,
apart from really looking at those quacks that we have really seen messing with our buildings.
This bill, first of all, is going to help improve on professionalism among the engineers. It is going to bring in professionalism. You know how, you know, sometimes regulations, some people take them in bad faith. You look at how law is very much regulated and you know how it is doing. And I think if other board entities, also other sectors were to be regulated just like law, I want to copy a leaf from law, you know how difficult it is. First of all, it helps improve on professionalism. This is my understanding of it. And then the engineers are going to have respect for their profession. First of all, they are going to do the work with love. Once it's not regulated, we are going to avoid issues of people taking advantage of others by declaring themselves as engineers. Because if it is regulated, by all means, that will have a reduction in the rate of quacks in this country. You know how quacks are taking advantage of people. And if you have to look at the rate of buildings collapsing in this country, most of them have been in the hands of quacks. You know what that means. And then professionalism, it is going to improve professionalism because the way the people are going to do their jobs will be in ways that I think will be professional, because these regulations will come with laws. They will come with the ethics that these engineers will be following. So at the end of the day, we shall be seeing an improvement in terms of service delivery to the people of the country. I think that bill is in good faith. I welcome it, and I want the people who are responsible behind it to hurry with the process. Maybe at the end of the day, we shall be seeing professionalism, because if it is not done that way, the rate of buildings that are still going to be collapsing will still be very high. The rate of accidents that are still on the roads in the hands of unprofessional engineers will still be going up. So I think if it is addressed, if the bill comes to these issues, will help improve on professionalism. Maybe at the end of the days, we shall see a reduction in terms of mess that is currently in the engineering sector.
Okay, we have seen so many buildings, so many roads really not lasting. We have seen, for instance, we have Power City Secondary School that has continued to be really condemned by stakeholders because of the issues of really not really ensuring those kind of quality works being delivered. I may not really worry to say that that work has been done by quacks who are not really regulated. Meaning, if that profession is regulated, we will have quality service delivery. First of all, we will have these issues of quality works being checked. We will also have these other issues to do with people who are purported to be engineers being seen on the other side. Maybe Faris, if you look at some of the issues around this bill, yes.
These
are some of the things if really people continue to talk about, and this bill, if it is approved, that will be sorting some of the issues to do with that. But also if you look at the issues to do with the roads, the issues to do with the general infrastructure, it is really appalling, because most of the institutions, most of the entities in this country are being constructed by these professional persons under this engineering profession. But so this means if we are not regulating that profession, it is going to be very difficult. Just like journalism, just like the doctors, just like, okay, the medical practitioners. These are things to do with public finances, because they draw a lot of money from people, also government itself. So if we cannot really deliver quality service, if we cannot regulate a profession, there will be no way we'll hold someone accountable, because you will not know this person. Yes, Faris.
I'm looking at it in this way. If the bill comes up, I want the bill to first of all address the issue of shoddy works. You have covered how many stories concerning shoddy projects.
True.
You know, most of these government projects have been having issues in terms of shoddy works. You know, you see the buildings, you see the roads. Most of the times in this country, we have run stories concerning shoddy projects. So I think the bill, if it comes in good faith and it comes timely, we shall be seeing the issues of shoddy works being reduced. So at the end of the day, we shall see service delivery, and we shall see quality work that is being put out by the engineers out there. Once, if this issue is not addressed, Frederick, we are still continuing to see issues of engineers, people who call themselves engineers, taking advantage of the people, taking advantage of the taxpayers' money. At the end of the day, we see how much money is being lost in terms of these engineers. Because you know how much money is being paid to these engineers, Frederick, you know how much money these people take? Because to hire an engineer, even though it is quite expensive.
And that's why most people are running away from them.
That is why most people are running away from the professional engineers. So if this bill comes up, first of all, the public will want to now, it will force the public to start going out for these professional engineers. It is going to force them. Because once these buildings are to be checked, I believe the people who are inspecting these buildings will first of all look out for the engineers who are responsible for these buildings here. If the engineers are not professionals, trust me, the government should break down these facilities, put the projects to halt, maybe do not even approve them. Before giving out government projects, we need to ensure that these are professional engineers. Maybe at the end of the day, we will see quality in terms of the work that is being put out there, because this is a country, Frederick, as I told you, we have seen a number of shoddy projects that are being put out countrywide by engineers. Because these buildings, once they're building, the builders are there, but the engineers have the mandate to always check and ensure that what they are doing is quality project. At the end of the day, if it is not addressed, we are still seeing the number of people, the number of shoddy projects that are still running out due to unprofessionalism within the engineering sector.
Okay, maybe slightly away from this, let's leave that discussion to do with the quacks in the engineering department that are overwhelming the country. If you look at that statistics of 5,000 minus 2,000, that means majority of the engineers that we have in this country are not professionals. That means a lot. We need to look so much into that. Let's move away from that. Let's move to how the countries will be able to exploit the potentials in the cultural tourism sites. That will be really also one of the things to bring revenue to the country, because we are all aware that tourism has contributed a lot into development of this country. Uganda itself has had a lot of downs and ups about the issues to do with tourism. This has been because of developing this tourism sector has been a challenge, because if you move to the tourism officers right now, somebody will tell you that my budget doesn't reach 5 million in a year. So what does that mean? That is very, very quite unfortunate. That means we are not really much into developing these tourism sites, but we want really money. How do we get money from this kind of tourism sites that we have in this country? Let's look at, for instance, Westnile region, where we have so many cultural tourism sites that we could talk about. Talk about the mountains where a lot of cultural activities used to take place. Talk about memorable graves. Talk about the monuments and so on. So many things that are here in this region and also other parts of this country. How, if government is able to tap into this, how it will really help in improving the revenue of this country. Maybe Faris, what do you make of this in case we are able to venture much into the cultural tourism sites and develop them? How do you think this will help the country?
First of all, this is a country that has a number of potential tourism sites but have never been tapped. So I think it is timely the cultural institutions can play a great role, first of all, in improving the tourism side. You know how how much money Buganda is earning from the tourism sites. The Masengeres, you know, those are potential tourism sites that you can just tell how much money they are earning from those facilities here. And if we are supposed to be doing the same here, I believe at the end of the day we shall be seeing an improvement in terms of the number of tourists that come into this side. Frederick, we have a number of potential tourism sites, as I told you, but have never been tapped and unearthed, and the country does not know about them. We have the Mountain Wati. If we are supposed to be doing much about these potential tourism sites, and you will tell how much money will be generating out of these taxes, out of these facilities here. So I think it is upon the cultural institutions now to start developing. First of all, let them have let them come up clearly to censor the masses about the facilities of the importance of these facilities here. We have the Ajay Game Reserve, but you can tell how many tourists come to these facilities here. What should we do now? What role can the cultural institutions play? First of all, the cultural institutions can play great importance by, first of all, protecting the cultural heritage that is surrounding them. Let them come out and protect the cultures that we have. And the cultural institutions can do this by, first of all, building the love among the people. Let them have the confidence in the masses. Let the masses understand what culture they subscribe to. At the end of the day, somebody will want to come from wherever they're coming from to just come and have an understanding of our cultures here. We have so many beautiful cultures here. We have the Lulu culture. We have so many cultures. Now Waringes coming up with their own culture. They're coming up with their own kingdom. We have the Madis. We have the Kebus. And if we are supposed to be putting this into proper use, Frederick, at the end of the day, we will see how many people will be coming just to have an understanding of the cultures here. And then we will be seeing still local tourism being improved. I would want to move to Kebu and see what is there. And the Kebu there will want to move to Aringa culture just to have an understanding. And how we could protect this is by protecting the cultural heritage and building the love among the people. If the people do not understand what is meant of their cultures, trust me, at the end of the day, we shall be wasting time. But one thing I'm very much grateful to the government is that since the cultural institutions have been revamped, you know, for how long they were abolished, now they're coming back, they have been revamped. Now most of the cultural institutions are actually getting up now to start exploiting the abilities of what they have, what they can do. I think that way, at the end of the day, we'll be seeing an improvement in terms of tourism, because we have so many potential tourism opportunities in this region. But as I said, they have never been tapped. And one reason they have never been tapped is, I think the government has also played a lot of role in this. Frederick, you know how many, you can just tell how many people are moving to Jinja, how many people are moving to Western Uganda to see what is there. And yet we have some of these facilities that would actually attract people here. We have in Maraja, that facility, Mirador.
Yes.
So many tourists would want to come from wherever they're coming from to just come and see what is happening in Mirador. We have Oluko Falls here, and these facilities, we did not know about them. Frederick, when did you get to know about, in the last 10 years, trust me, I did not know about Mirador, I did not know about Oluko Falls. But now these potential opportunities are being earthed. And if we were to have culture, that is, I think, culture that we shall be able to have an understanding of, a culture that people love, a culture that the people understand, at the end of the day, we'll be seeing people coming from Soga, people coming from Buganda, people coming from Ankole to come and see what is here. Because we have seen how many people move from here to go and see what these people are doing. So it is just because of the love. Let the masses understand the cultures of what is happening here. Let them have love for the cultures. At the end of the day, if they are because tourism sites without the support of the masses, there's nothing we shall be doing. If the leaders are doing what they are doing, but the masses are not supporting and not seeing what they are doing. So at the end of the day, trust me, the leaders will just be wasting their time, the government will be wasting time, and we shall be having these opportunities just put into waste like that.
Okay,
because
that is one of the opportunities that this country is able to, if really exploited, this country is able to go and get some money there to really finance some of the local activities that we want to do in this country. First of all, we have said we don't want any other loan from outside as a country right now. So these are the ways we can really make use of some of the available resources that we have in order to get money in this country. Maybe before we go for the last concluding remarks, Faris, if you look at a lot of the tourism sites that we have in Westnile region, there are like over 3,000 tourism sites that are here in this region, but majority of this is comprised of the cultural kind of tourism site that would best be told by the cultural institutions what has gone wrong. Can we see the cultural leaders coming up and also telling us stories of what has been happening and why a place is named like that, so that if someone is looking for why so and so is behaving like that, we'll be able to have this background. And also most of the things in this region were not written, so we need to now start profiling some of these cultural sites that we think can really attract tourists for us to have that really money collected so much. But also, if you look at some of the tourism sites that you talked about, these are sites that have been really identified by some of our sons who are within this region, who are from school, who are able to exploit them. But if we impress that kind of mentality, we'll be able to develop so many of the cultural institutions. But we're time, but let's wind up from here. Maybe Faris, your concluding remarks on this? My
concluding remark is just, it is now time for us to start telling the world of what we have. Because if you are to go and tell somebody there, come visit Westnile, you know how much Rwanda is investing in terms of sharing out what they have. And you can now tell how much money they are generating in terms of foreign exchange that is coming to Rwanda now. So I think it is now upon us with our leaders now to start doing enough in terms of sensitizing, in terms of telling the world of what we have. Because we have a number of potential tourism sites in this region, Frederick, it is now time for us to start telling the world what we have. Just like the discoveries of Mirador and Oluko Falls, let the other facilities also be discovered. Maybe at the end of the day, we shall be seeing an improvement in terms of tourism in this area.
Okay, so that is it with all that we had packed for you, and also there are other things in case we'll be able to break for you what transpires in this weekend, and that will be on Monday in the same show, that is the KOKOLIRIKO Live on Westnile Television. My name is Frederick Dramadri. I'm out of here. Up next we'll be bringing you the news in Lubarati that will be led by Fethas, that is Fethe Emmanuel, who will bring for you all that is packed in the local language. Thank you.